Riddle me this, my Zodiac-inspired friend. What is bronze, silver, or gold, and can never be bought or sold?
Another Gothamite know-it-all. I know that the answer is trophy.
Remarkable! You're almost as intelligent as me! Now if you can collect 299 more of these, and finally, we shall have a competition to see who is truly the master of— Hey, what are you doing? Hello my friends and welcome back to Player Display. Once again, I'm a little bit late to the party on this particular figure, but honestly I was so impressed by him that I just had to do a review. This is of course the DC Multiverse McFarlane Toys DC Classics Riddler from the Batman franchise, obviously, because pretty much all figures that we do on here are Batman at this point. Don't know why. It's just where I am at this point. I feel like I've collected all the Star Wars I need. I've got all the Marvel I need. I guess DC is the next chapter in my collector's journey, so that's where we're headed. And honestly, as for this figure, this is a McFarlane figure done right. I know that I give McFarlane a lot of shit for, releasing collector's editions that don't have enough stuff, for all the exclusivity and stuff like that, but this is a figure which I got on sale on eBay, on Amazon actually, and I think this is a fair figure. He comes with a lot of accessories, the articulation's very good, in fact I think it's all a new base body. The paint apps are excellent. I mean, I don't really have a negative talking point on this figure, I'll be honest. So that's pretty much it. No, I'm just kidding, we're gonna do the entire review. But anyways, all that being said, let's all get on the box! Deja vu. It's almost as if we've seen this packaging before, and it's because we have. They do the exact same damn thing every single time. I've talked about that. I wish they'd do something more interesting. I'm a little tired of that Green Lantern graphic in the backdrop over there. I mean, again, it looks awesome. I just wish they'd change it up for each figure that they'd be doing. I mean, yeah, they'd have to have an artist go ahead and pen up a whole new background, but imagine getting this Riddler, and then he's got like this green question marky backdrop behind him. That would look so cool. But regardless, it's the usual McFarlane box. It does its job well. I mean, shows you the figure. It's got some really annoying twist ties in there that you gotta clip out. But once you do that, I mean, you got Riddler down there, Riddler on the side, Riddler on this side, DC Classic as well. And off to the back, my favorite part of each box, you do get the artwork for each of the figures, so that makes me a little bit more disgruntled about the insert on the inside. I mean, you could change the back, why not change the inside? But I don't know, maybe one day McFarlane will come to his senses. Time! Here's Edward Nygma in the flesh, and I know I just said that I have no complaints about this figure. After picking him up, immediately I was like, there's a few things in there, but we'll get to them when we do. But still, there's few of them, nothing earth-shattering, so we'll get to those when we do. But as for now, we will start with the head sculpt as we always do. It's pretty much principle here. You've got his purple domino mask. I almost said green. Imagine that. That'd be totally wrong. That'd be terrible. But yeah, it's a very good classic expression for the Riddler. Very happy and cheerful, but also cocky as hell, as Riddler is always known to be. He just feels like he's the smartest man in the room, perhaps on the planet, and he really exudes that. I really think this is a great head sculpt for him. There has been instances where we've had more comedic and fun action figures that have come from McFarlane, like the new Punchline from the 2-pack comes to mind, and she just had this really static, boring expression. So, there are certain characters where they should have a little bit more fun with the head sculpt, and fortunately here, they did a wonderful job. We also got some nice little wrinkles in the profile there. I mean, it's just a very excellent looking face sculpt. I also like the chin down there. I think that's a really nice detail. I also really love the hair. I'm glad that they didn't do just a black or anything like that. It reminds me of the Rebirth Superman where they did a blue wash of sorts over it, and I just think that's a really nice detail. I think it's a good color choice to go with. Brings everything out a little bit more. It's no longer just hair sculpt. Now you've got some paint in there. And still, sorry, got my window open. It's actually a nice day in Massachusetts, wouldn't you know it? We haven't had, like, a nice day in Massachusetts since I graduated from college 2+ years ago. But anyhow, this makes me, a little more disappointed with other figures like the Batman and Robin Poison Ivy, where we had a beautiful hair sculpt, but there was no paint on it. So this is what I want to see more from Todd McFarlane in the future. Now, going down, this is one of the first critiques I have of this figure, and that is this neckline. You can see the neck is not a separate sculpt from the rest of the body. It's simply whoosh, painted right on with that flesh tone. From a distance, not too noticeable, but when you bring it in, it is more apparent that it is just a very heavy application of that paint onto this body. Not the worst thing, honestly, but when you go around and you really try and pinpoint it there, you can see there's a little bit of paint bleed over here that's spilling onto the green. So I don't love it there. On the back, it's especially bad, but not the worst thing ever. I mean, again, it's a minor detail, not noticeable from most angles or distances. I mean, when you got them on your shelf, I mean, even just back here by a few inches, you don't see it at all. So that's totally okay. Around the body, it's just a whole lot of green and a whole lot of question marks. I mean, that's pretty much Riddler's thing. There was also a Platinum Chase variant, which I fortunately did not receive when I ordered this figure because I preferred this version better. That one just had a single question mark and a darker green. I'm not totally sure which comic run that's meant to reference. I do know that it reminds me of the Lego Batman game, so I did appreciate it for that, but ultimately, this is my favorite of the two variants, and I'm very glad to have them. But anyhow, going around, more and more question marks. Yeah, just standard classic Riddler deco, looking fantastic. Down here, the gloves, this is my last real critique on this figure. It's extremely, I don't know what word to use, modular, I guess would be the right thing to say, in that a lot of pieces like to come off. So as you can see here, the cuffs for the gloves are floating. You can kind of hear that just a little bit of that squeaky. That's because when you take the hand off, I mean, well, before you get to that, when you do take the hand off, sometimes, if you're too fast about it, this time it didn't happen, obviously, but the joint will split and the hand will come out with half of that joint. So it'll come out like this, there'll be half left over. So you want to be careful about that, but if you do what I just did, apparently, in an effort to show you that, and you go fast enough, then maybe you won't have that issue. But that's the other thing about this figure, is this cuff on the glove is also removable, so I'm not totally sure how I feel about that. I guess maybe this body is reuse after all. Let me know in the comments, I'm just not sure. But part of me is tempted to just glue this down. I don't see a practical reason to have that rotating around. It just gets a little bit annoying when I'm articulating the hand, so it does bother me a little bit. But all that being said, get the hand back on, and because that cuff on the glove is so floppy, it does make it a little bit annoying to get the hand back on. You kind of got to hold it from the elbow there instead of the glove itself. So just a little thing to be wary of. Both gloves are identical. I mean, why would they be different? Really nice belt. I love the paint application here. It's done in the purple once again, but it's got a silver clip, looking really nice. Down to the classic McFarlane diaper, 2 more question marks. Some on the back as well, so that's very good. Down on the legs, more question marks, nothing on the knees. There's really never going to be paint on the elbows or knees. That's totally okay. And then down here, he's got some distinct boots, but there's no unique paint applications here. Actually, I just noticed there's a question mark that bleeds over the cuff of the boot. So that feels a little bit weird, but it's on the back, so really not a huge deal. As for shoes, nothing else going on at all. You just got your visible articulation, another loud motorcycle, and yeah, that's about it for the looks of this figure. I mean, it's a classic figure. You're not supposed to have a whole ton of details here. Another thing I did want to mention is, actually, the reason why I got this figure at all is because I got the collector's edition Penguin, which, again, I said was overpriced, but I was able to justify that in my head with, of course, first of all, getting the soft goods Captain Boomerang, and also because I got this guy, and he got all his accessories, which we're just about to look at. This guy should have been a collector's edition, not the Penguin. Know what I mean? Because he's taller, he's got more stuff. But anyways, that's a little bit of my logic there. We talked about that on a Pod Guy podcast just a few weeks ago, if you want to check that out. But all that being said, let's check out the accessories. Actually forgot to mention the hands that he starts out with. Well, actually forget exactly what hands he started with out of the packaging, but first hands he comes with are 2 gripping hands, which are identical, and are of course used for his question mark cane, which we will look at. But you do have a ton more hand options over here. So we've got a splayed out, we've got a little bit more relaxed, we got one for the right, one for the left respectively. We also have a pair of fists, although I can't imagine why he'd want to use these. I imagine he'd be more gesturing rather than fighting. It's just kind of his thing. And if you really want to be gesturing a lot, you also have these two other hands. You've got a pointing finger and I guess also a pointing finger. You got one with the thumb and one with the index and thumb. So a ton of options here. I mean, you can even have a thumbs up, have him pointing to himself like, I'm the smartest guy around. Know what I mean? So yeah, that was a terrible Riddler impression. I'm sorry about that. But yeah, just a really great assortment of hands, which every McFarlane figure should have. I'd hope that McFarlane would follow suit with this type of figure. I don't think he will do that, though.
Todd!
But of course, no Riddler is complete without his cane, his staff, whatever you want to call it. I'll actually pull out a little bit here. It is a very beautifully done piece. I really love the spiral design that's going up the shaft, then it makes its way to the question mark over here. No fancy lights or anything like you'd see in Batman Forever, nor should there be. Just a standard cane, and I love this thing. I guess I could critique the fact that it is softer plastic, so it does have a tendency to warp a little bit, so be wary of that. But getting it into his hands is not an issue at all. I mean, if you just want to do a quick two-handed pose, look how slick this is. You just slide it through one hand, and then it can make its way to the other. It could be doing a two-handed pose if you want. Or if you're like me, you could also get this over his shoulder like so. And yeah, it's fantastic. And while we're here, we'll also do a hand swap. And, oh, the joint stayed in this time. So, alright, so to prevent that joint from splitting, just pull it off as fast as you can. So, there you are there. Let's see, what hand will we want to go with here? There's a whole bunch of options. We got a pointing finger. Maybe he's very far away from the Caped Crusader and he's taunting him. So we can do a little bit of that action. And yeah, ooh, that's some thumbnail material. We'll have to think about that. I almost forgot to mention his flashcard, which again comes with the same artwork that we saw in the main box, along with a few of his riddles. I'm just noticing these now. Flip it over to the back, you got the image once again. This opportunity to have like two different images of the Riddler from the comics. In fact, three if you count the box. But all that being said, you got his bio over here. There's a classic standard bio for this character. I really hope they do more classic figures. Like a classic Joker and Harley, I think would be fantastic. That'd be a great two-pack, even though it would sell out like gangbusters. But yeah, I mean, let me know in the comments, what other classic comic characters do you want to see in the DC Classics line from McFarlane? Because I'm loving this. I think this would be a great line to continue. I mean, you got Riddler, got Penguin. I'm hoping they do more. And also DC figure standards. The articulation on Riddler is great, as it should be. It makes him a little bit more acrobatic. He could be dancing around, just however you envision him to be performing in front of Batman. But yeah, starting off with the head, really good tilt. Got some forward, even got some back. You never see like a firm balance between the two, so that's really nice. Exorcist swivel. As for the arms, we have some really big, juicy butterfly joints in there, which I always love. Gets them pretty far in and pretty far back out. Obviously, you can hit a 90 right there, coming out from the shoulders. Just whatever, which way you want. You could even be pointing straight up to the sky, so that's really good. Bicep swivel, and I really like this bicep because it doesn't push out too much when you want to swivel it to the side like that, so that's really nice. Double jointed elbows, going all the way in. We talked about the somewhat finicky wrist joints over here, but in, out, up, down with either hand, it doesn't matter which. Down here, we've got a ball joint underneath the abs over here, and then down here at the waist, so collectively, go pretty good mount back, not too bad forward. Side to side, and swivels, of course. I think that's a ball joint under there. If I've been mistaken this whole time, I apologize, but I just feel like there's something in there. I think, yeah, that's probably a ball joint. All right, I'll cut myself some slack. As for the legs, let's get the arms out of the way. Do some really good splits, almost all the way 180, so that's fantastic. Though, mind the diaper, because it does get a little bit bendy. You don't want it to get stuck, flared out, or anything like that, but can kick forward to what looks like just shy of 90, but that's all right. I mean, he's been good, very good so far. He does a pretty good amount back. I mean, looks like he's in the valley. And not all the way back, because of course you got the butt sculpt in the way. As for knees, you got double joint, very good. Down here on the feet, you got swivel, got in, and up, whatever. You get what I mean. You're seeing the video here. Got toe articulation, and of course that classic rocker, which, whoa, it's kind of taking the rest of the joint with it, but there is a rocker in there. So, yeah, articulation-wise, I think this guy's fantastic. I don't think he needs anything else. Really damn good figure. McFarlane, this is the point where you take notes. Got it?
Hi, Todd!
Now for some size comparisons, everybody here has been customized to one degree or another, but in no way has their height been altered, so all of them are pretty nice and even, so I figured they'd be pretty good here. First, we have 3 Batmen, which have all fought the Riddler. So we have the Arkham Knight variant, then we have Val Kilmer from Batman Forever, then we have Robert Pattinson from The Batman. So just really nice that we have the Riddler popping up in so many different universes. But then over here we have one of his more edgy appearances being the Zodiac Killer-inspired version, Paul Dano from The Batman. I love both versions of this character, but seriously, how did we get from this to this? I just think that's such an interesting creative choice. But then down here, of course, we have our Star Wars The Black Series, Mechamuck! Well, color me flattered. You really are keen on solving one of my very own riddles.
Yeah, sure, I'm unemployed. I have nothing better to do. Lay it on me. Sure, go ahead.
Alright, we all know how this story goes. His parents are dead, and he was kissed by a rose.
I think it's one of those guys over there. Wait, what? How many are there?
You see, Enigma, the true riddle is, that riddle was really for you.
What? Impossible! You tricked me? I told you I was bored. I figured I might as well tip them off.
There really is something in the way that you tricked the Riddler that the people of Gotham would really appreciate.
Oh, well, that's just fantastic. You're all quoting your individual IPs now?
This is how it happened. This is how the Riddler died.
Oh, well, now, this is just ridiculous. Jeopardizing your own morals so you can reference the video game where you came from. You know, there's no rules here. Pop Guy just woke up on a Saturday afternoon and he had nothing better to do.
Actually, I was setting up for the end of this video and I noticed that there is also a thigh swivel that is so well hidden in there. So that's another bonus point for this figure. But anyways, let's do the outro together. Now we've got him on our little spinning stand over here. Put this camera back up, swivel it to the side, turn it on, and there we go. So let me dial down the speed a little bit. There we are. So, riddle me this, my friends. What is potentially one of my top 10 favorite McFarlane figures of all time? Might be this Riddler, honestly. I think he is a fantastic example of what McFarlane should be doing. First of all, great base body. Got excellent articulation. You can have him in just about any pose that you want. I mean, it's also a character where you don't have a whole bunch of extra parts coming off. He doesn't have a cape. He doesn't have, like, a crazy backpack or anything like that, or, like, holsters or anything that really hinders articulation. Everything here is just very streamlined. If there was any figure that called for really good articulation just based on the fact that he doesn't have a lot of stuff to begin with, then it's this version of the Riddler. He should be able to move this much, so it's nice that we get that. Second, the absolute slew of accessories that he comes with. I mean, yeah, it's predominantly hands, but that alone is what allows you to give him so much personality. And, of course, this is a character with a ton of personality, so it's really great that you can do that. And third, it's just a classic DC character. I mean, again, I love these classic designs because they take me back to Six Flags, where you're going on the Batman ride, and when you're in the queue, you get all the signs with the bios of each of his villains from the Rogues Gallery and stuff like that. And then Riddler was one of them. Penguin's one of them, which is who I'm expecting soon with Starfire and Captain Boomerang. But yeah, I'm a sucker for the classic designs. In a sense, love them more than the movie variants, I'll be honest, especially with Marvel, and in turn with DC in a lot of cases. But yeah, I think this is a prime example of what Todd McFarlane should be doing. Price point's good, figure's good, accessories are great, the figure itself doesn't need any modifications. I mean, yeah, the gloves get a little bit irritating, but come on. Is that enough to notch down this figure? I don't think so. If anything, it just gives you some more options with the hands and stuff like that. So, not complaining at all. I'm just saying it's there, and then it's whatever you want to make of it. So, wonderful, wonderful figure. Really looking forward to the Jim Carrey Riddler that they'll be releasing, I believe, later this year, or is it next year? I'm not totally sure. I think they got the date wrong in those leak shots. But regardless, I think he's the last Riddler that we urgently need. And all of them together, I mean, we're going to have the 3. Then we got this crazy psycho over here, and it will just be a really interesting evolution. Oh, and we needed a 66 version as well, but we need 66 versions of all the characters, including Batman himself. So, until then, I love this Riddler. One of my new favorite McFarlane figures. Easy. So thank you guys so much for watching. I hope that you enjoyed this review, and if you did, then please, as per usual, be sure to
Like, comment,
Ring the bell to be notified of our latest arrivals. And subscribe.
This is the editor speaking, humbly reminding you to support the pod Patreon in the description to guarantee new content every single week.
Thank you guys very much for watching. Rock on, and I will see you all later.